So here we are on a frozen cold night, close up against Burfield, nuclear weapons storage establishment, a few miles from Aldermaston. Looking at what to all casual observers would appear to be lights of planes in the Heathrow area. Those three red lights in the sky are, I believe, cranes. A major work is going on at Burfield. On the other side of the cranes are the M4 motorway, and presumably the camera is picking up the traffic sound. There is a fair bit of aircraft activity, as you would expect, this close to Heathrow. I can hear something going over now. I have to emphasise though that I cannot hear the engines of how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 large planes. I haven't brought my tripod with me, so I'm holding the camera in my hands. No doubt they'll start to shake soon in the cold. Need to give you a date and time check. This is April the 2nd, Monday, bank holiday here in the UK. Round about 8:30 at night. I first saw the lights from my home about an hour ago. They haven't been here for some weeks, and that's because we've had very cloudy skies, which they don't like. But seeing a clear sky tonight, I thought they would be itching to be out, and they are. They're concealing themselves, if you can call it concealing, in full view by actually flying over the top of Reading, which being a major city with a very large population, lots of street lights, it would be difficult to see them, and if seen they would just be supposed to be Heathrow traffic. I can hear a plane overhead now. It's a good deal closer than those lights are. In fact, I'm going to try and pick it up on the camera for some sort of comparison. You see it there? It's the one we can hear. See its navigation lights going. Let's come back to the UFO lights. 1, 2, 3. Now showing some navigation lights itself. 4. Now showing a navigation light which appears to be a blue light, which is somewhat unorthodox. I've got the camera on a slight magnification. Just to get some street lights in. I think there's probably the lights over the M4 motorway. Just to give some idea of distance and direction. There are the cranes again, and immediately above the crane we have a light which is actually making quite good progress. So I think this may well be a light that's on its way from Heathrow. There we have a plane showing 2 navigation lights. I suspect a UFO plane. There's another one sitting over Reading. Sitting over Saver Centre, quite likely, to the west of Reading, close to the M4. Doing little light shopping now. What's this? Here one of the lights is flashing very brightly. What does bright light signify? Is it powering up of the engines? Is some sort of apparatus being used? Some sort of heat seeking or some other signal seeking apparatus? Unfortunately, this camera with its video setting, it is only a still camera actually, with a video setting, is not able to zoom in and out whilst in use. I have to zoom it while it's off, so I've put it on a mild zoom, and that's what we're looking at present. Now that one has now started to flash a navigation light on its tail. Appears to have a headlight on. Appears to be making reasonable progress. Another one behind the tree. Another one flashing white navigation lights. I must say that none of them at the moment are looking particularly UFO-like. But then, that's what we expect. So I'm just waiting to see if this one just had the bright light, whether it is in fact a conventional plane and the bright light was because he had his headlights on when he'd taken them off from Heathrow, and whether he'll turn them off shortly as he gets underway, or whether he'll go a little way, turn them off, turn around and come back, which is the pattern we expect from the UFO lights. Yes, that is the wind howling that you can hear. Not got too many of the shakes just yet, I don't think. See, this is now coming up to 8 minutes. Oh, started to flash navigation lights. I think he's turned away from me at the moment. It's very easy to think, oh well, that one's not doing much, I'll look at another one, and you come back to the first one and you find, oh, he's not there anymore, and you think, I wish I'd have followed him. Of course, in truth, you might not be able to follow him because he might put his lights out entirely and then curve around and come back again, put his lights on. Appears to be a brand new plane arriving. I think in this instance I am tempted to think that that was a Heathrow plane, because looking back to where he came from, there are 2 more coming, and I get the impression that they are approaching, well, not quite from the Heathrow direction, it's more to the right, more to the east, following the M4, but they're probably following a flight path where they're being instructed to take this particular curving route. I actually get the impression that the UFO light scenario is now dying down for the evening. Well, that's okay, because I've now got confirmation from this position that when I see them from the house, I now know the actual distance. It's always been something of a dilemma as to whether although I could follow them in a straight line on a Google Earth map from their gathering point. I've never quite known how far along that line they were gathering. I think I can now triangulate that from here. Although at this point, being Burfield, we're at the furthest extremity of their flight, furthest away from the gathering point. But that's okay. I think we're going to have a good indication now as to just where that gathering point is. It's interesting that they have come out on this the first night for weeks. The last opportunity for them to have a clear sky was when I last videoed them. It's interesting that they have come out, because either they're lurking in the bushes close by and popping their head out of the cabin window and saying, "Tonight's a good night, lads, it's all clear, let's take off," or they're watching our weather forecast, which wouldn't do them much good because it's usually wrong, or they're coming in from perhaps a long way away, because they are able to tell, perhaps by observation from a greater altitude, that tonight's the night. Well, as my hand is now becoming frozen to the camera, I think it's time to say nighty night, and we'll do some plotting on the Google Earth map. It is interesting to speculate as to whether Reading is meant to be a holding point for aircraft over a major conurbation with a huge population. I think not. There's certainly never been an indication on the flight aware that that is a holding point, and at this time on a Monday evening one wouldn't anticipate that Heathrow needs to put planes into a holding pattern because of pressure of numbers. Yes, is that one that's just taken off with his headlights on. Certainly not making much progress. Looking away from the camera, I can see 1, 2, 3 pairs of lights in the Reading sector of the sky. I'm just going to come away to show you another one on the far side there, over the Saver Centre area. Saver Centre being a large shop or store. Maybe they're waiting for last minute bargains before it shuts for the night. That is the one which we were looking at a moment ago and saying, has he taken off from Heathrow? And as he pointed this way with his headlight. Well, he's not making much progress, if he is. On the other hand, if he's just hanging in the sky, he's probably doing exactly what he wants to do, just to hang in the sky. And whilst hanging there, is he observing, photographing, detecting in some other way what's going on the Burfield site, or perhaps on the Aldermaston site, which is only 2 or 3 miles away in a straight line. Now he's started to show navigation lights, trying to get the ground lights in as well so as to give some perspective. And now, from being pretty well stationary, unless he was heading this way for a long time, giving the appearance of being stationary, in which case he couldn't have been climbing. He would have had to have been approaching horizontally. Now he's turned away. Well, he's sideways on, but I can still see his headlights. Double headlights. Other planes have pretty well disappeared. I can see a little blinking light over that way, over the service centre direction. The one we were just looking at now, no headlights, just some blinking navigation lights. Oh, service centre decided to illuminate. And he's coming back again. Of course he is. There are just 2 planes in the sky at the moment. Service centre, oh, telling a lie, there's a 3rd one just seen. And there is the one we have been watching coming up, perhaps from Heathrow with his headlights. Back to service centre, who's now making good progress. On his return trip, running parallel to the M4. Just looking now in the same direction where we saw Heathrow lights come up before. Well, there's a strong one. Is it a Heathrow plane? Actually, if it was, I don't think we'd see the headlight appear, only when he got to that height. I think we'd see him climb gradually. It's giving the appearance of hovering, of course. See, I think the camera is fairly still at the moment. That's because I'm frozen rigid. So on my own tripod. Well, bipod. Now, let me just show you, there is, I believe, a true Heathrow plane. It's flashing conventional navigation lights. It's flying in a perfectly straight line. It's making height. You can probably see cabin windows illuminated. Back to our friend who we wondered whether he was a Heathrow plane. It's giving us the old bright light. "20 minutes coming up on the recording meter. you're not as cold as I am watching this. Still, who wants to be curled up in front of a nice log fire watching how to drivel on television? Now he starts to flash some navigation lights as he turns sideways, or turns to the left, to the west, and after a period where he appeared to be making no progress, he's now flying in what you might suppose is a conventional manner, except that he's making a beeline for Service Centre, which I don't think is on any of the Heathrow routes. I don't think they're running shopping expeditions from there. Not the shops 30 miles away anyway. Something else appears to be coming up. Yeah, just following me. Here it goes. Trying to get the lights in on the street too to give some perspective. There we are, there's flashing navigation lights. What's that one doing? That one does give the appearance of perhaps rising in the sky. No, he doesn't actually. He gives the appearance of not rising in the sky. Let me show you what I think is a true Heathrow one coming up. Here he comes. Lights ablaze, navigation lights. Back to the one we were just looking at, which we thought might be a Heathrow one. Let's go and have a look over Service Centre, where one of our friends is heading to the left as the other one comes back in. If these are planes, how much aviation fuel has been expended circling this relatively small area of sky for no obvious purpose? In a country coming into a triple dip recession, we're told. So have a look horizon to horizon. Well, that's not true. Have a look from Service Centre to Burfield. That's all we were just looking at. A flashing red light, by the way, I think I'm perhaps right in saying, though it's hidden by a tree, is actually the large wind turbine or windmill on the M4 as you pass Reading and the Majeski football stadium. Just to give a bearing there. This is the one that a little while ago I said is perhaps a Heathrow one. Rising, oh no he's not, and in fact he hasn't got much higher in the sky in the time we've been panning, that's technical, panning to the west. flying higher than him, travelling to the west, is, I think, a conventional plane. Why do I think that's a conventional plane? As it now appears to have made a fairly tight turn and to be coming this way. Just looking without the looking away from the camera, I can just see some faint lights elsewhere, but well, we soon know if it's a conventional plane because he appears to be heading this way, and if he actually arrives here, we'll know. But let's just have a quick sweep over towards Saver Centre, where another friend is lurking. Come back to this one now. What's he doing? Oh, he stopped coming this way now, and he's turned to the west. He appears to be hanging there. Red navigation light on the tail blinking, white headlights. The suspicion is, of course, that they disappear off to the left, go around in a big loop, and come back again, and we think, oh, it's a different plane. Now that looks very conventional, doesn't it? Another one following. Oh, that is conventional because I can see 4 lights, which we don't see on the UFO planes. Front, back, and 1 to each wingtip. In fact, I can hear it quite clearly too. And one has to wonder what he's doing turning over Reading. Has he been sent to have a look at what's going on? Or is that too much of a conspiracy theory? There's another one that's followed the same trail. Can you hear it? Hear his engines? Throttling back. How slowly he appears to be travelling. He makes his way away from us, but he is travelling pretty slowly. But he's managing to keep airborne, so it's a couple of 100 miles an hour, surely. Here's another one that appeared to be a Heathrow one. Let's see what he does. Those which are conventional are obviously conventional. Like, it's not too long, a few seconds, before they're well out of sight. It's another one which I believe I can hear. So that's a conventional one. Somebody lurking over Saver Centre still. It's interesting, there's a very small white light just passed close to it. Well, from here it looks close to it. Oh. Has he just flashed his light at it, as if to say, come back? Because it has now turned, the little one. Now the big one is now flying off. Was he saying, come back here and take up your station? I'm moving off to have a look at Burfield. What is that? Anthropomorphizing. Putting in the mouths of aliens what a human would think. Little one is still there, very faintly. They obviously have a good number of planes. Now, there are at least, I would say, 4 at the moment, acting in an unconventional manner. There's a little light as was, looking like a star now. Another one there. 2 there. It's working on the assumption that Saver Centre is not the desired location. I'm just looking for the plane which I can hear. I'm not sure which one that is. Suddenly appeared. I think the little one looking like a star still looks like a star. So there's another one now just crossing to his left. He's decided to give a flash. There is a suggestion that sometimes if we look across here, it's another large light. There is a suggestion that they're actually signalling each other. Well, it's my suggestion, I haven't heard anybody else say it. So that was a large light. Has now finished his shopping. Show you what's happening elsewhere. There is the well, I hope you're making sense of this. I think all we can say for certain is that there are what appear to be a number of planes in the sky whose only objective at this, what, 9:30, not sure, hour, on a bank holiday cold night, their only objective is to pass backwards and forwards along the length of Reading from the Saver Centre exit or junction of the M4 motorway, which is approximately where he is, to there's a conventional plate, very conventional, 4 lights. Red light on the wingtip nearest me. Some more we can hear. His only objective is to pass backwards and forwards a distance of, let's suppose, 2 to 3 miles at a very slow speed. I know this is interesting. That large, definitely conventional plane is turning towards that particular light. At which point the light continues on his merry way. Flashing navigation lights, as if to say, don't take any notice of me, I'm just minding my own business. Are they appearing on Heathrow's radar? One has to ask, because we don't have any freedom of information right to ask for their radar reports. Or FAA reports, as it might be in America. I would say that that conventional plane is about the distance away now that those lights are. And we see how obviously it is a conventional plane. Ooh. Look out. Saver Centre's getting agitated. Let me show you that conventional plane where he's got to now. He's pretty low on the horizon now. He's going to disappear behind trees. You're probably saying, well, why isn't he showing the one I want to see? Well, I don't know which one you do want to see. And I certainly can't get a camera which has such a panoramic view that I can pick them all up. I don't know what would do that. Taking in, as I say, perhaps 2 or 3 miles of sky at the same time. Unless I was a lot further away than this, and the whole objective of tonight has been to get close and to establish just where close is. I'm not in any doubt about that now. Just looking for the conventional plane over the top of the football stadium. That's him making his way. Well, it's all getting pretty quiet now. Final roundup of the Saver Centre. We've got one blinking light and one stationary light maybe beneath it, maybe it's a star. Sweeping round, we've got another set of navigation lights. I don't know whether they're conventional or not. Over the top of the football stadium we've got the conventional plane getting further and further away, but facing towards us we have what appears to be a headlight. Nothing else at the moment. Let's come back to that conventional plane. What's going to happen to that headlight? Now you see, it is impossible to suppose that conventional plane's pilots cannot see that light. Well, and the others too, if it comes to that. If those lights are not appearing on the Heathrow radar, are they not saying to traffic control at Heathrow, I've got a set of lights just to the side of me, can you see them? Or that their own planes navigation and radar is not picking it up. And if they can see the light and they're not picking it up, why don't they think or report that there's a light which they can see but which is not appearing on their radar? The answer could be it is appearing on their radar, it is appearing on Heathrow's radar, and everybody's perfectly happy that it's a conventional plane because it is. Yeah, now here's another one coming in from Service Centre, that well-known attraction for burning fuel. I think I will go now. There is another possible difficulty here in that there are often patrols of police, not surprisingly in the way that Aldermaston and Burfield are fortified and guarded, and me stood in a field with a camera might excite some attention. So I'll say good night.